Hey, what's up? It's Josh, the Florida Kayak Camping Guy here. And today's video, we're going to be talking about how to pack your yak. I'm going to show you what I take and where I put it and why I put it there for a overnight camping trip here in Florida. Just kind of give you a little gear rundown, but show you where I put everything in the boat and why I put it there. Hopefully shed some good information. Stay tuned. All right. First item I'm going to be talking about is water. I like to use these 1 liter smart water bottles. They hold up really well. I've had some of them for a couple of years, and I typically will I take about 4 liters per day, roughly, depending on what time of year it is and how much I'm going to be sweating or cooking. But I like to take at least 4 liters per day. That allows me to brush my teeth, coffee, cooking, and drinking throughout the day. But I almost always will keep at least 1 liter of water right behind my cockpit, like right behind the seat where I can reach it, nice and low in the boat. And typically you want to put all the heaviest items as close to the cockpit as you can. You don't want to have all your water stored in the, the very front or the very back or up on its side. So the Smart Liter 1 liter water bottles sit pretty flat inside there. You can fit them inside the day hatch and the bigger storage hatches. This kayak that I'm using today is a 17-foot current design Sirocco. I think it's a 2017 model year. But I like to put probably approximately 2 liters of water in my day hatch area, 1 behind the seat, and then the other one's going to go up in the very front of the boat. Not the very front, I shouldn't say that. The very front cockpit, as furthest back as it can be. And that pretty much covers the water. It's the heaviest item usually that you're going to be taking, or at least that I personally take. So I like to keep that close and lay it at the bottom of the boat. You don't want to have your water stacked up on the side. It's just not a good idea. Lay it flat. Usually I'll have I call it a ditty bag, but it's going to have like my camera equipment, some things that I'm going to need, toiletries, stuff like that. I keep that in the day hatch right here behind me. It's pretty light. I usually keep my first aid kit, wherever it is, in there too. I always like keeping my headlamp close by. You never know when you might get to camp late. You don't want to be searching through your bags. I usually like to keep this thing super handy. Throw that in the back hatch as well. This is one of my pillows. I like bringing 2 pillows when I go, so I take one to sit on in the kayak. It's a game changer. It's made by Trekology. And then I also take a Nemo pillow as my main pillow to sleep on at night in the tent. So that's going to be sitting in the cockpit with me. I'll be sitting directly on that. I like taking stuff like this is my sleeping pad, for example. Take the sleeping pad, it's nice and long. I don't even need to keep it in a bag or anything crazy. I stick that up in the very back of the kayak, pretty far out. I like taking my poles for my tent and sticking those back there too, 1 on each side. Keeps them nice and even. The tent that I'm going to be stuffing in there today is this is the Nemo Dagger Osmo 2P. It's a 2-person tent. It's a backpacking tent. Pretty lightweight. And I actually don't even usually bring this big of a tent, but since it's an overnight trip, I am. But I'll take the tent and slide that towards the back of the boat as well. And then we'll move on to food. I like having different colored bags for different things. It just makes organization easy, especially over doing trips for multiple years now. I've been using this particular bag for 5 or 6 years, and this has always been the food bag. So it's just like orange bag, food bag, just makes it really super easy. And this is a ton of food. I actually brought a substantial amount of food because it's an overnight trip and I'm not worried about weight. Only had about a 5-mile paddle to get here. So we're going to take the food though and stick that in the back hatch towards the front, or towards the center I should say, of the cockpit or the kayak. And then I usually take my water shoes. I always bring a pair of Astral water shoes with me, as long as my regular sneakers. Some of these islands got cactuses. Sometimes you run into broken glass, stuff like that. I always bring 2 pairs of shoes, or at least 1 pair of water shoes, 1 pair of shoes. But these are fairly light, so I'll lay 1 on each side up in the back of the boat. And then now we're going to move on to the front of the boat. All right, now we're in the front of the kayak. And this boat has obviously 3 storage compartments. 1 medium-sized one in the front of the boat, 1 large one in the back, and then 1 day hatch right behind the seat. I like to use the Sea to Summit clear bags. They make finding your clothes or your socks, different items, really super easy. My clothes don't typically weigh that much, So I like sticking those in the front of the boat. A lot of times I'm not needing to get in and out of the front. I like to put things up there that I'm not going to use throughout the day. Things that I am going to use throughout the day, I like to place in that day hatch area. It just makes it getting stuff out of the boat super easy, especially if you're in the boat and you need to get something. It's nice to have it right there behind your seat. And then I got a sleeping bag. It's one of the few items that I actually keep inside its own dry bag is my sleeping bag. Everything else can get wet usually and dry out, not too bad. But I like these clear bags, obviously, like I said earlier. And I will stick these in the front of the boat. Food, or the clothing bag and the sleeping bag are going to go in the front of the boat in that 1 liter of water. And then I'll usually stick my Nemo Pillow sleeping bag, or I'm sorry, pillow in the front. I like putting it along the side. I like everything not to move and shift inside there. If for some reason I got to take wakes or get in and out of the boat, flip over, I don't want stuff getting shifted around inside the kayak. I want it all to fit nice and neat and kind of fill up the space, and the lighter objects obviously on the top of the heavier ones. First aid kit that I was looking for earlier, I like keeping that. And I keep a bunch of other stuff inside here other than the first aid kit. I keep some other super essential items that I think close by. Put that guy in the day hatch. While I'm talking about day hatches, I usually will stick my snacks and stuff like that, the things that can't fit in my life jacket or my little pouch that I keep on the front of the boat. They're going to go in that little day hatch just to make the trip go a lot smoother and easier. You don't have to stop and be going through all these other compartments to find stuff. Put everything that you're going to need in the daytime in that day hatch. That's why they call it a day hatch. But it won't suck up all your time stopping to take a jacket off and put it in the front and get things out. Especially on multi-day trips, it makes it way easier to just stay organized and have a exact place that you put everything. Sunglasses, always keep a set of those. Day hatch area. And last but not least, tent stakes. Stick these up here. I don't want those to smash, poke a hole in anything. I usually stick them right there on the other side of my pillow. And that pretty much wraps it up for where I put all that gear. Approximately this gear that I'm bringing today is under 20 pounds base weight. And that's not too bad. There's ample storage, and I still have plenty of room in all these hatches to get other stuff and move it around. I don't like filling a hatch up to where I can't even move something around and get to it. But hope you enjoyed this video and hope it helped you. Like and subscribe.